At the halfway point of our season, we made perhaps the biggest shakeup of the season to this point. A quarterback change has been made. Skylar Locklear now replaces Malachi Nelson at the helm. And now it's time to finish this season strong. We start this episode against the 4-4 Jacksonville State Gamecocks, the reigning conference champions. 4-4 on the season, while UTEP, coming off their first win since week 2, tries to continue their climb towards 500 football. The Gamecocks will start on offense, and out comes their senior quarterback, who is now at his third school in his career, Gavin Wimsett, formerly of Rutgers and Kentucky, and he will hand it off to his running back, Cam Cook, who is a transfer from TCU, wrapped up on the first play. Second down, another short gain for the Gamecocks, now going empty on third. And Wimsett goes deep down the right sideline, and it's broken up by Jalen Shelton. We force a 3-and-out, and out comes Skylar Locklear, coming off of a 300-yard, one-touchdown performance in a win over the Kennesaw State Owls. Locklear lost his starting job in the offseason to Malachi Nelson, the 5-star transfer, but after Nelson threw 14 interceptions, which leads the country, we had no choice but to make a move, and Locklear did his job last week protecting the football, didn't throw any interceptions. And I'll try to keep momentum today. First play goes to Hassan Wilson, gain of 4. Shotgun snap, Locklear to pass on second down, hits Cam Thomas in stride. Catch and run for 22, up to the opposing 31. Here's Locklear again on second down. Nice throw to Wandame Davis, but it's coming back thanks to a hold on Luka Matamoros, the left tackle. That sets us back to a 3rd down and 10. Locklear escapes the pocket, running right, and he will pick up the first down. Picking up a key block from Cam Thomas there. Bootleg to the left, and Jacksonville State all over it. Another 3rd and 10. Locklear facing immediate pressure, gets the ball to the right area, but out of reach. Gamecocks hold us to a field goal. We lead 3-0. Screen pass to the left side. That is Caleb Coombs. Moves the sticks, now at the 49-yard line. Cam Cook, running room up the middle, shakes out Xavier Smith in the open field. Nice play for Cook, who is one of the more talented running backs in this conference. I mistakenly said he was an all-conference player last episode, but he did score 9 rushing touchdowns with TCU last season. 1st and 10, Wimsett is sacked by Elijah Baldwin. Very encouraging to see our edge rush actually produce some sack results. 3rd and 13 now, behind the sticks, and they will have to take a long field goal. This is Garrison Ripa from 51 yards out, and it's wide right. We push them out of the field goal comfort zone, and Ripa has a seizure on the field afterwards. Here is Hassan Wilson, Texas route, takes him up past midfield. We are in Texas after all. 3 minutes to go in the first. Here's Wilson, getting us back on schedule. 3rd down and 3. Locklear, empty backfield. Hit as he threw, but he's got Jaden Smith over the middle. Malachi had a lot of struggles throwing under heavy pressure, which is something he had to do often. Good showing so far for Locklear, and he fits that in underneath the safeties. Here's 2nd and goal for Locklear, and here's Jaden Smith on the drag. Stops short at the 2. Speed option dialed up, 3rd and goal. Locklear with the timely pitch, and Wilson can walk in. Touchdown, UTEP. The offense has just operated much more smoothly ever since Locklear has come in as the starter. And here we are on our 2nd offensive possession after a 3-and-out. Locklear connects with Cam Thomas on the sideline for a 3rd down conversion. RPO bubble screen. Thomas getting more work in a foot race, and he passes the Jacksonville State 40. He has been such a dynamic slot receiver so far in his senior season. Here is Wilson on the check down, spins out 2 Gamecocks, and all the way to the 2. It feels like we haven't truly unlocked the talent of Hassan Wilson this season, but there it is on full display. One of the shiftier players in the conference, but Marquez Taylor is going to vulture away the touchdown. Easy walk in up the middle. Taylor has been impressive as well in limited touches. And look at this score, 17-0 Miners lead. We haven't seen that in a long time. And we force another punt. Great coverage downfield. And it's been all Miners so far. Wilson will take a screen behind blockers, gain a 7. Wilson already with 67 receiving yards. But we have a 4th and 1, and it's converted by Marquez Taylor. First down at the Jacksonville State 36. Now we got Thomas on the zig route. He is lethal on that play. Making moves up to the 7-yard line, and we have a chance to go up 24-0. First and goal, Locklear scrambles up the middle. He's got the touchdown. A dominant first half for UTEP. And this is the best we've looked all season. Look at Skylar getting busy in the end zone. His teammates clearly love him. Gamecocks haven't gotten anything going on offense, but here's a big play to the tight end, Pearson Baldwin, the redshirt senior. Now they'll try to build off of it. At midfield, here's Wimsett, checks down. Coombs will gain 9 on the first down catch. Approaching the 2-minute warning, they get it out to Brock Rechsteiner, the son of the WWE's Braun Breaker, a 75 overall wide receiver. And now here is Baldwin again. Third catch, 49 yards in total for him. Here's Wimsett looking underneath for Cam Cook, and he's shaken up after this play. The most important player on this offense is going to have to leave. 4-yard line, Wimsett pulls on the read option, stopped in the backfield, Udoka Ezayani. 30 seconds to go in the half. He pulls again, but is incomplete, intended for Rechsteiner. That was Xavier Smith in coverage, knocking it free. And that holds them to a field goal. Good to see Smith making a play, our highest rated player, but he's had a fairly quiet season. There's a big catch from Cam Thomas. He does it again. The 5'7" receiver plays much bigger than he is, and it sets up a Hail Mary attempt for Skylar Locklear. He cannot get this to the end zone even. It falls incomplete, and we close the book on a dominant first half, 24-3. Miners lead the Gamecocks. And this is what this team is capable of when the defense is on point and the offense is protecting the football. That just puts our star skill players in a position to make big plays. Let's talk recruiting now very quickly. Clay Armour is getting 50 hours thrown at him, but Colorado State continues to make a big push. That Week 7 visit really hurt us, and especially with the pipeline advantage that the Rams have. If things keep going the way they're going, this looks to be headed for a 2-team recruiting battle. We're already in one of those battles for Eric Santucci, and this does not look good. The New Mexico Lobos have taken over first place, and that was in a week where we won our games, so I don't know if there's a route to us winning this battle. And honestly, a lot of our 2-star recruiting races are not going well at all. UNLV is catching up to us quickly for JC Corner. He's already in his top 3 stage, and he's very close to announcing his commitment. It looks like a win this week might get us there, but a battle also looks likely for Corner. And here's another player I just started targeting, left tackle Brody Bryant. He didn't have any offers when I first offered him a scholarship, but now UCLA is randomly sending the house for a 2-star offensive lineman. And we don't stand a chance against them with a maxed out pipeline boost. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to remove him from our board. We are still in solid shape for quarterback Nico Amano though, and he gets his visit scheduled for the New Mexico State game in Week 13. And lastly, I am now pursuing cornerback Darren Kesey, a 1-star out of Richmond, Texas. So a lot of slow recruiting battles so far. They're finally starting to come together. And our offense is also coming together with our new quarterback. Let's jump through about halfway through the third quarter. What a catch by Kenny Odom up the sideline. Skylar Locklear already nearing 300 passing yards. He got 55 of them on this play. Gets us to the 7-yard line where Locklear is pressured and sacked. Curtis Perry, the sack leader for this Gamecocks defense. Now Locklear fires to Wilson, but he drops it. He could have had a touchdown there. Now a 3rd and goal. Locklear targeting Ezinwa. Judah Ezinwa not able to make the catch either. And we have to send out the field goal unit. Joe Bowman off the left upright. No good. And we come away with no points on the drive. The great catch from Odom goes to waste. But the Gamecocks with another 3rd and long, and Pearson Baldwin just made maybe the most impressive failed 3rd down conversion I've ever seen. One-hands it. Ball back to Locklear and the Miners offense. Odom catch and run. Just zooms by that defender who thought he was getting an interception. And Locklear is at 321 passing yards. Drops back on 3rd and 8, and there's the first interception of the game. Threw into double coverage, and he's gonna pay for it. Walker Osteen wins the foot race to the end zone. Touchdown on a pick 6. Wandame Davis almost caught him there, but bad throw, bad decision from Locklear. We saw way too many of these with Malachi Nelson. But as long as Locklear is able to limit these in the long term, he'll probably be okay. Hassan Wilson with a big gash gets us to the 38-yard line. Now with 3rd and 4, 10 minutes remaining. Locklear, a keeper, stopped behind the line. And it's 4th and 4, a 50-yard field goal for Joe Bowman. But we want to keep this football. Offense still out there. We draw a Gamecock lineman off sides, but because of the new delay for fake snaps, we're not able to snap the ball, and instead we get called for a false start. Make that make sense. Why did they add that delay in there? It makes hard counts useless. And I was so mad here, I just decided to go for it anyway on 4th and 9. Locklear goes long, and it's batted down. Not a great decision there from Aaron Jones. And now with 8 minutes left, Jacksonville State can make this a game again. Wimsett pulls and runs past midfield to the 34. At halftime, it looked like we'd already put them away, but now we got to be careful. Cam Cook getting some good blocks up the middle of the field. Not able to pick up the first down. Here's a 4th and inches. Wimsett going for it. Well protected. Over the middle, complete. Rex Steiner sets up a goal-to-go situation. And on 3rd down, Wimsett trying to punch it in himself. He's stopped. More good goal line defense from Xavier Smith, but now we got to stop them on 4th and goal, and they score with an easy pitch and catch to Cook. 1-score game now. And if we can't at least run some time off the clock, our palms are going to get real sweaty. But Wilson with a nice run. He's been fairly quiet, only 55 yards. 2nd and inches, bubble screen caught by Smith. Staying in bounds and forcing Jacksonville State to start using their timeouts. 2nd down, Locklear up the seam, caught. Cam Thomas with another impressive play, making this catch and absorbing quite a bit of contact. And that's a big 1st down. Jacksonville State now out of timeouts with under 3 minutes to go. And here's Thomas again with room to pick up the 1st down. 164 receiving yards for Cam Thomas in this one. This time it's Jaden Smith catching it in the flat and taking it for a decent gain. And with a 4th and 3, a minute to go, I don't want to give this team the ball back. Let's just end the game right now. Locklear in the shotgun, Wilson to his right, and the hard count works! We drew the Gamecocks offside again, and this time they actually called it. Walker Osteen, who gave his team momentum with a pick six, commits the game-ending penalty, and UTEP walks away with its second consecutive win. We ride a dominant first half to victory, and we did not score a single point in the second half, but that's just how good our first half was. Of course, it would be nice to see a full 4 quarters of football from this team, but you got to take your wins where you can get them. I mean, look at the difference in total offense. 485 yards to 221. If we hadn't gotten in our own way, we would have won by at least 3 scores. Skylar Locklear was without a passing touchdown, and he did have a pretty bad interception. Not his finest showing, but 381 passing yards shows that he was able to move the football down the field. And I'm not fully happy with our rushing attack either. We probably would have been able to put them away a lot earlier if we could run the football. Hassan Wilson only 3.2 yards per carry. We did make it over 100 rushing yards thanks to Skylar Locklear though. But once again though, our receivers continue to be the lifeblood of our offense. They make the engine run. And Cam Thomas was yet again at the center, 164 receiving yards. And I've been waiting for this defense to click for a long time. I think there is some talent on it despite a lack of depth. And judging from the last 2 performances, I think this defense is vastly improved from the start of the season. And we are once again able to upgrade Aaron Jones. He's now level 5. And we will continue to upgrade the running game. The running backs get a trucking and break tackle boost. And just as I predicted, we're now in a battle for clay armor. We do still have first place, as Colorado State was not able to make as much progress as they did the previous week. But this is bad news. JC Corner has a new top school, and it is the UNLV Runnin' Rebels. They made a ton of progress on him last week, and it is not looking good anymore. And I saw this coming a while ago, but Eric Santucci has also chosen New Mexico over UTEP. The good news is that our championship contender grade is up to a C-. Unfortunately, probably not good enough to keep players like Malachi Nelson, Xavier Smith, Kenny Odom. All 3 of those guys want to be on much better teams next season. Here's an interesting score from the week. Penn State takes their first loss. The list of undefeated teams continues to shrink, and this loss comes at the hand of Indiana in multiple overtimes, and Kurt Cignetti continues to prove that last year's Hoosiers were no one-year fluke. Replacing Penn State at the top of the rankings is undefeated Clemson, and they absolutely deserve it, flexing their muscles with a 63-38 win over Florida State, in which Cade Klubnik threw for 7 touchdowns, 39 for 43, and 4 of them went to TJ Moore, the dynamic true sophomore, and somehow Klubnik is not the top favorite to win the Heisman even after that game. The ACC might be the best conference in football this year, with number 1 Clemson, number 4 Miami, number 11 Duke, even Louisville ranked number 14. They are a dark horse for the playoff. Meanwhile, for the SEC, this is somewhat of a down year. Georgia has looked like one of the best teams in the conference for most of the season, and yeah, they still are. They're number 13, but they needed a 24-0 fourth quarter comeback to beat Mississippi State. And Gunnar Stockton did his best Malachi Nelson impression with 4 interceptions. Alabama gets back in the win column with a win over LSU, but you know it's a bad year for the SEC when LSU is literally under 500. The team to beat in the conference has been Florida, who continues to be well worthy of a top 10 ranking, destroying Kentucky. The only team to beat them so far has been Georgia. But who saw this coming? Texas Tech is one of the last few remaining undefeated teams, 10-0, with an overtime win over the BYU Cougars. As of now, the top 4 teams in the playoff are Clemson, Miami, Texas Tech, and Oregon. So the ACC has 2 teams in the top 4 with a couple of teams knocking on the door, 2 Big 12 teams with Texas Tech and Colorado, 3 SEC teams with Texas, Florida, and Ole Miss, and then 4 Big Ten teams with Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, and Penn State. Also, what the heck made the game decide that 6-3 Illinois should be higher than 8-1 Penn State, a team that beat number 2 Oregon? In the lowly Conference USA, here is the scoreboard, and our next opponent, the 3-6 Missouri State Bears, actually managed to blow out 6-3 Liberty. And we're going to have to look out for 81 overall running back Shamari Lawrence next game. He comes off a $156 and 2 scores. It's already week 12, and we've only got 3 more games in the regular season of year 1. Here's a closer look at safety Clay Armour's recruiting battle. And I'm not sure what we're supposed to do. This is the amount of progress we made in a week where we sent the house and won our game. I would be very surprised if we managed to win either of these 2 battles for armor or corner. Thankfully though, most of our other races are pretty laid back. 2-star edge rusher Kevin Rizzo is nearing a commitment, and we have a big lead on Nico Amano, but San Jose State actually managed to jump up to 2nd place. Unfortunately, we weren't able to bring in Eric Santucci. I'll remove him from the board. And look at this, I actually got an insta-commit from a 1-star weak side linebacker, Emmanuel Huff. I offered him a scholarship and boom, he committed right away. That's the first time that's happened this series. And I really don't know much about him other than the fact that he has 73 strength. But he is our 6th player to commit in this class, and that gives us the 113th ranked class in the nation. I've also discovered another 2-star running back to target. Replacing Eric Santucci is James Hector, also a backfield threat. He is a JUCO sophomore, and we are the first team to give him an offer. I've also found another 1-star, 6'7" tackle in Jamil Ezekiel. So here's 3-6 Mo State, our next opponent. One of the 2 schools to join the FBS this season. Their only wins are over FCS Southeast, New Mexico State, and Liberty. And they have one of the better arms in the conference with 80 overall pocket passer Jacob Clark, 89 throw power. Hasn't really had a good season statistically though, 13 touchdowns, 5 picks, completing less than half of his passes. Instead, this team has relied on Shamari Lawrence, who comes off maybe the best performance of his season. He has 6 touchdowns on the year, while his backup Josh Joyner has 5. And the struggles of Jacob Clark make sense when you see the receiving core. That is not a very good one. Meanwhile, DJ Wesselak headlines the defense, a transfer from Oregon State. And we are on the road in Springfield, Missouri, trying to make it 3 wins in a row, with the long-term goal being securing a spot in a bowl game. Hope everybody's been enjoying Season 1 as much as I have. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you want to support my channel. It is a cold and windy day in Missouri, 42 degrees, 16 mile-per-hour gusts. And the Bears will start with the football. That's Solo Barnes stopping Shamari Lawrence for a gain of 3. Lawrence again, making some moves up the middle, gaining 5. Now we stack the box on 3rd and short. RPO screen pass, and making the tackle in the open field is Neil Campbell. Didn't give him a chance to reach across the line. And we get the ball and get straight to work. Nice catch on the slant by Kenny Odom. But now a 3rd down and 10. Here's Locklear. Tosses it underneath to Cam Thomas. Makes it a 4th and manageable, which we will go for. And this time, Judah Azinwa is able to pick it up. I don't know why I keep running that play on 4th down. My heart skips a beat every time I have to re-watch it, as Hassan Wilson makes it a 2nd and 1. Going to the air now, Wilson on the check down. Easy first. Locklear hasn't been able to throw a ton of touchdowns since he's re-entered the lineup. Hopefully we can get the aerial attack going in the red zone. There's another 1st down. Locklear fakes the handoff and throws the bubble to Thomas, accelerating to the pylon. Touchdown. That play looked like it was going to be a short gain or no gain, but Cam Thomas is just too shifty. UTEP with an early lead, scoring on their opening drive. But Shamari Lawrence beats us to the edge and picks up a first down all by himself. Here is Jacob Clark to the right sideline, connecting with Jamarie Robinson. Bears spreading us out. Here's Clark up the middle of the field, and this time he finds Rennell Johnson for a 29-yard pickup. This time they hand it off back to Lawrence, and dragging him down from behind is KD Johnson. 30 yards already for Lawrence. Into a blitz. Clark completes it to James Blackstrain. Stopped at the 1. And now they try to run an option, and Clark didn't have anybody to pitch it to. They ran it to the wrong side. But this time they execute perfectly. Clark to Rennell Johnson for 6, and that ties the game at 7 apiece toward the end of the first quarter. Man, this stadium is dead empty. Don't any students want to see their team play their first year at the FBS level? I mean, come on. First down, Hassan Wilson. And now we got a trick play dialed up. Flea flicker, double coverage, and it falls incomplete. They had double bracket called, and we had 2 receivers going out for routes. So that was the perfect call to stop the flea flicker. Second down and first down, no problem. Hassan Wilson on the screen pass. I love how the new halfback screens feel in this game, but on 3rd and 9, that's the end of our drive. Could have been worse. They blitz 6 against an empty backfield, nearly come away with the big man interception, but we punted away, and Shamari Lawrence continuing to get sizable pickups. Clark will fire up the hash marks, and it's caught at midfield. A big grab by Jamarie Robinson. But now another chance to get them off the field. Clark sideline broken up. Jalen Shelton with the deflection. And we have the ball now, 6:40 to go in the half. Pass caught underneath by Smith, bouncing around, setting up a 3rd and 1. But now we're going to hand it off to Cam Thomas, letting him show off his running back skills. Can't find a lane, but he does get the first down. Speed option now, and Wilson picking up a block from a receiver. Just trying to get to that 2nd and short as much as we can. Here's another one, and Wilson to the sideline in stride. Locklear moves the chains again. He's got 92 passing yards. And going for another screen pass. This is going to fall incomplete. How do you drop this, Marquez Taylor? He had a lot of room to run if he made that catch. 3rd and 9, and this is off the mark. He wanted Thomas, but he threw it way behind him. Clark back to work. Here's a screen pass to the running back, Josh Joyner. And he's able to scamper for the first. Double mug, mid-blitz. And they are able to get the ball out in time. Jacob Clark, cool under pressure. Here's Clark into the open space again. This is his tight end, Gary Clinton. It's been low scoring, but final minute of the first half, Missouri State trying to take the lead, and they are marching down the field. Robinson with another grab, his 5th. At our 24-yard line, and a sack! The ball pops out as well. We're not able to recover the fumble, and Ashton Coker got hurt on a dangerous cut block right there. He got somersaulted in the air, but still a great defensive play. Udoka Ezayani comes screaming off the edge, setting up a 2nd down and 24. And more pressure! Cole Gustafson gets home. 3rd and 32. Trying to keep them out of field goal range, but Clark calmly finds an open receiver. That is Jamarie Robinson once more, setting up a fairly long field goal from 48 yards out. Yusuf Obeid splits the uprights perfectly and gives the Bears a lead. We have 30 seconds now to make something happen. Here's Locklear scrambling right and looking back in the middle of the field, finding Odom. He was left all alone right at the center field logo. Now Locklear checks down to Marquez Taylor, pickup of 9 yards. And with 8 seconds left, we'll take our final timeout of the half. Locklear to the left sideline, and he leads Kenny Odom out of bounds. That would have made a field goal an option, but now we're going to have to chuck it deep instead of kicking it 60 yards. Locklear throws it as far as he can, and somehow it's caught, but it's short of the goal line. So close to a touchdown right there. It was Kenny Odom who made that catch. But we're going to have to head to the locker rooms down by 3. We have been unable to score outside of our opening drive. But here's our opening drive of the second half. Can we do the same thing? Locklear finds Thomas, who turns on the Jets for a first down. 5 catches in the game, 43 receiving yards for Thomas. Thomas gets another catch and runs with it past the opposing 40 to the 38. Locklear now over 200 yards passing, but he's going to have to eat this sack. The Bears' first of the game, Mitchell Toney. Behind the sticks, 3rd and 18, and Locklear swarmed again up the middle. Heath Smith forces us to punt it away. Back to Shamari Lawrence and the Bears, and more running room. 57 yards on 9 carries, picking up where he left off last week. And Xavier Smith stops Gary Clinton short of the markers, and that gives us the ball right back. Locklear on a speed option. Here's Taylor turning on the Jets. Our second half specialist trying to get us out of our offensive slump. Locklear with time to throw finds a wide open Cam Thomas, who just walks ahead for a first down, but maybe there was a reason Locklear had so much time. Holding penalty sets us back. And a great catch from Marquez Taylor. Gains 14 on that play. Bad throw from Locklear. And this is broken up. Locklear could not connect with Jaden Smith. A big hit. Sends out the field goal unit. Joe Bowman from 54. It's just wide to the right. And we are still without points outside of our opening drive. It's hard to kick on a cold, windy day like this. And it's been hard to do pretty much anything on offense this game. 3rd and 14, just trying to get off the field again, and we do. And we get the ball back. 1:48 to go in the third. 30-yard line. Locklear to the outside. Here's Jaden Smith. First down, pickup. I would at least like to see us get into the red zone, finally. But that's not going to happen. Interception. Cameron Williams, the redshirt freshman, jumps in front of the route. And it continues to be a nightmare offensive performance for us. There were multiple tight windows that he could have thrown into here, but that was not one of them. And our defense is having to shoulder the load today. They've done a pretty good job, all things considered. Quarter number 4 now, 3rd and inches. Lawrence is dumped in the backfield. Stratton Schufelt was there immediately. And now we continue to search for something that can work for us on offense. Kenny Odom moves the sticks. Under 10 minutes now. The check down caught by Taylor. Taking it up to the 41, 3rd and 2. Speed option. We got lucky there. That should have been a fumble. They call it an incompletion. That could have easily been a defensive touchdown. It falls harmlessly to the turf. And on 4th down, we try to get the defense off sides, but instead we get a false start and we just have to punt. Our offense is just asleep today. 9 minutes to go in a tight game. Lawrence to the sideline, gets to the edge, 30, 20, 10, and he goes all the way. Missouri State breaks the game wide open in the fourth quarter with a long score from Shamari Lawrence. Containing the edge is one of the hardest things for us to do with the talent we have on the defensive line. We haven't seen a really long run to the outside like that in a long time, but those plays are going to happen, and it happens at the worst possible time. And now our offense, which was already behind the 8 ball, has an even harder job. And they're all over the halfback screen. Heath Smith snuffs it out. 3rd down and 15 now for Skylar Locklear, and nothing materializing. He barely gets that ball out. Saw the blitz coming and he just panicked and scrambled. If he had just stayed in the pocket, maybe he would have been able to make something happen. Now we got a 4th and 15, and it's intercepted. Trying to force it to Cam Thomas. It's picked off by J.J. O'Neal. And our quest for points continues to come up short. We just do not have any juice today. How are we being beat this bad by a team who just joined our division? 3rd and 5 nearing the red zone. Clark to the end zone and broken up. Yesman Green had a chance for an interception there. And they're going to go for this. They want to slam the door on us. Clark will pass on 4th down. Caught inside the hash marks by Ronell Johnson. The drive continues, and the clock continues to run. We do stop the run and force a 4th and goal. That's KD Johnson blowing up the play. And the chip shot field goal is good from Obeid. 20-7 is the score. 3:34 to go. We still have not scored since our opening drive. Marquez Taylor trying to save the day. Picks up the first. 35-yard line. Locklear rolling right. Eyes downfield and caught. Jaden Smith takes us to the Bears' 46. Locklear is 28 for 50. We continue to just pass. And that's Josh Shucks with the grab underneath, and he takes it past the marker. The jet sweep goes absolutely nowhere. Cam Thomas stopped for a loss of 3. We're at the 2-minute timeout. Just get us out of here already. 4th and 13 after heavy pressure from the Bears. And this is the game right here. 4th and long. Locklear is immediately pummeled to the ground. Devon Townley Jr. pressures Locklear on 2 consecutive snaps, and this time he gets the sack to seal the Bears' win. Almost surely, at least. We do have 3 timeouts remaining, and we have them at a 3rd and 12. We've only used 1 timeout. Clark is going to let it rip into double coverage. It falls incomplete. And we will get the ball back with 2 timeouts and 1:21 on the clock. Locklear finds nothing downfield, so he takes off up the middle. 1st down. Now Locklear drops back on 2nd and 10, lofts it to the sideline, and making the grab for the 1st down is Thomas again. Now 19 catches in his last 2 games. And give him 20. Making the grab at midfield, his 11th of the game. 40 seconds on the clock. We go screen pass now to Marquez Taylor. And why couldn't we have this offensive momentum earlier in the game? 30 seconds on the clock. Locklear pressured and sacked. He was hit hard by Heath Smith. And he is feeling the effects, so he's going to leave the game. Malachi Nelson is back in. 25 seconds to go. Can he give us something good on tape? Something to make us reconsider our decision to bench him. 3rd down and 20. Nelson throws into double coverage and nothing doing. And now we're really down to our last play. 4th down and 20. Nelson with time to throw. It's picked off. O'Neal does it again. And man, what a brutal season for Malachi Nelson. Couldn't even go 25 seconds without throwing a pick. And he now has 15 on the season. This loss falls squarely on our offense. You're not going to win any games scoring no points in the final 3 quarters. The defense was quite honestly pretty perfect outside of that one long run to Shamari Lawrence. And it's yet another game of outgaining our opponent by a wide margin, 400 to 287. And I could not believe how many times we threw the ball, 64 times between our 2 quarterbacks. Also, look at Malachi. He broke the QB rating stat. I guess he found the cheat code to having the best passer rating in the country. Just throw nothing but interceptions. We had absolutely 0 rushing pop today, but honestly that's probably just on the play calling. We did not stay committed to the run at all. Cam Thomas has another huge game. He does manage to get over 100 yards, but it goes to waste. As we advance the week and check out our recruiting results, we do lose out on JC Corner. He chooses UNLV. And just like that, our championship grade contender is down from a C- all the way to an F. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, we're 4-6. Surely there are teams that have worse records than that. But regardless, let's check out some scores. And just like that, right when Clemson took the number 1 spot, they now go down to the Louisville Cardinals, who enter the playoff race officially by locking down an offense that scored 62 points the previous week. And their 93 overall running back, Isaac Brown, just put the country on notice with his 2 touchdowns. This time, it's Oregon's turn to have a huge offensive outburst. 35 points in the second quarter alone, and they score 69 against Minnesota. Dante Moore has his own 7-touchdown game. And not only that, but Mekhi Hughes has 242 yards on the ground. So they are the new number 1 team, but Michigan and Penn State are breathing down their necks. They both get wins this week. And in a battle of playoff contenders, Florida wins 38-0 over Ole Miss. Ole Miss is now out of the rankings entirely. And guess who's also out of the rankings? Georgia, at 6-4, takes their 4th conference loss, and it was a heartbreaker. 52-45 against Texas in overtime. And Texas now takes that coveted number 4 ranking. I think the only undefeated FBS team might be Texas Tech now, as they get the win over UCF. They're still not number 1 though. And in Conference USA, our rival New Mexico State just got stomped by Tennessee, and they're now 1-9 heading into our matchup against them. Meanwhile, Florida International remains the best team in this conference, and they have actually entered the top 25. They are undefeated at 6-0, 9-1 overall, while the Miners sit at 10th in the conference after that loss to Missouri State. We are now going to have to win out in order to keep our bowl eligibility. Here's the updated projected playoff as Texas and Florida now enter the top 4. We don't have a lot going for us right now, so I figured I would at least show you guys that we have a top 10 Chuck Bednarik Award contender in Stratton Schufelt. As you might predict, his stats are definitely inflated by the fact that there are not a lot of assisted tackles in simulation stats. Almost all the tackles that go down in the sim are solo tackles, so since I'm playing all the games, there's like 3 assists per tackle, so Schufelt has a bunch of tackles. 31 is just the amount of solo tackles he has. He has a bunch more assists. He's got 2 sacks, 3 pass deflections, and 23 tackles for loss. That's the main impressive thing. He has been able to shoot the gap and tackle the running back behind the line of scrimmage quite a bit this season. Our linebackers have had maybe the toughest job on our entire defense, having to shore up for a lot of the weaknesses we have. I definitely wouldn't say it's been a perfect season for them, but I still might have to call them the best position group on our defense, outside of maybe the defensive tackles who are racking up sacks still. And now only 2 games remain in the regular season. We have gone through it at such a fast pace, and I really like the process of making these 2-game videos. Maybe I'll even do a 3-game video at some point. But we now look ahead to our rivalry game, the Battle of I-10 against New Mexico State, whose only win is against New Mexico, who went 3-7. Since that win, though, where they shut out the Lobos, they have not allowed less than 34 points in a game. They most recently allowed 56, 48, and 40 points. This is a dreadful, dreadful defense. It makes me grateful for our own defense. It's not even like they have terrible players. I mean, I was looking through the roster, and they have a pretty balanced group, and they may not have more top-end talent than us, but I honestly think they might have a deeper roster. They've got 2 very quality running backs in Kadarius Callaway and Dijon Stanley. Their top 2 receivers are in the high 70s, low 80s range. TJ Pride leads the group at 91 speed, 84 short route running. AJ Williams isn't the highest rated, but he has the most touchdowns with 8. And then they have PJ Johnson III. They have an 80 overall middle linebacker with 87 tackles on the season, 2 interceptions as well, so Sone Aupiu is a player to watch out for, has a nose for the football. And then they have a safety in Nick Session, who's 80 overall and very good in coverage. But then they've got another linebacker in Tyler Martinez, who's even better, 85 overall, 87 tackling. And then here's an 84 overall cornerback, DeCarrick Hobbs, a 78 overall edge rusher, Gabe Peterson, who's better than any edge rusher we have on our roster. And then their sack leader is 76 overall Cole Schnettgecki with 5 sacks, and he would also start on our team. So honestly, I don't know if this is going to be a cakewalk like their record suggests. And it is a rivalry game too, so you know they're going to give us their best. They already did that with their other rival in New Mexico. So yeah, that's going to take us to the end of another UTEP episode. We go 1-1 today, and we end the episode 4-6, 2-4 in conference play. At least we're not New Mexico State though. That team is a dumpster fire. There's a decent amount on the line here as we close out the regular season. We need to win out to keep our bowl eligibility. And I would say that if we are able to get bowl eligibility, this season would be a success. If we're not able to beat 1-9 New Mexico State and we fall to our rival and we lose out on a bowl game, I think this season's a failure. Simple as that. We do have one more game after New Mexico State, and that is Delaware on the road. And Delaware, not a great team either. These are 2 games that we should win. And then after that, our time in Conference USA is over, and it's time to move on to the Mountain West. New beginnings, new challenges, new opponents, and who knows what our roster is going to look like with all the players who look like they are destined to transfer away. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys stick around as we close out the regular season in next episode. If you like what you see, I'd really appreciate if you left a like on the video, left a comment with some feedback, subscribe to the channel, turn post notifications on if you want to stay updated, and recommended me to a friend. But thank you all for watching, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. More UTEP Dynasty coming very soon.